necessarily afford to get a new mannequin right now, I could maybe afford to get a wig and kind of see if we could change up our look a little bit. So tonight I have unpackaged this wig. It was about $15 from Amazon, and this is what it looks like straight out of the package. It's actually very soft and shiny. It's synthetic. I imagine it's for cosplay and Halloween, but it needs a little bit of trimming to remove some of the weight in certain areas to make it look a little bit more realistic. So that's what we are going to be doing tonight, is helping Lydia make this new hairstyle her own. So I like the length of it, so we probably won't take off any length, and it does have a soft wave to it. I'm going to go ahead and turn it around so you can see. It's meant to be that very voluminous curl that's in style right now, so I don't want to take that away necessarily, but rather I would like to enhance it by giving her some slightly longer layers back here to kind of help. Turn her back around so you can look at her a little bit more. It will actually help define those waves a little bit better, and particularly here in the front, her fringe or her bangs, these are really heavy. So if you were a person that was wearing this out and about, you would need to soften this up just a little tiny bit because there's too much weight right here in the bottom. I'm not sure if it really shows on camera the same way, but in person, that part, when I tried it on myself, it was kind of a dead giveaway for me, and it made me laugh. I thought about showing you guys what it actually looked like on me doing a before and after, but this is actually kind of an auburn color. I know because it's dark in here it doesn't show quite the same way, but it's got a little bit more reddish to it, and with my complexion I have a lot of pink, so you can see that this probably is not the best for me because it brings that pink out in my skin. So this will probably be something that if I'm a little bit more tan, maybe in the summertime, could get away with, but for now we're just gonna let Lydia, who has a nice olive complexion, wear it. So, and you know what I was thinking about this particular style? It reminds me a lot of Nicole Kidman's character in Practical Magic. If you remember that movie, let me know in the comments. I really liked that movie when it first came out, so. Okay, so for her, because we're wanting to do the long layers, we're actually going to start in the back. And this is going to be a very rough trim job. I'm not really following kind of a standard guide that you would for a traditional haircut because, well, I'm kind of lazy for one, and for two, I don't have this bend like I probably should to Lydia because she is plastic. And normally, when you're styling a wig, you would have some sort of foam or similar type material that would allow you to pin the wig in place so it doesn't move as you style it. That is not what would happen here. It would just move all over the place. So, and because I kind of want this to have a little bit of a messier look to it, I think we're okay to do these kind of untraditional layers. So can you hear that trimming at all? I hope so. I guess because I'm kind of doing a feather, I'm not really doing a full snip like you would, but I know that snipping sound is the best, so I will try really hard to make it a little bit louder in some certain spots. Maybe I'll just snip by the microphone. Tonight I am trying out my lavalier mic. So you can already see some of these shorter layers are looking good. I'm trying out my lavalier mic, so that is what is clipped to me. And it's kind of funny because it reminds me of the way I have it threaded. I put it through the back of my shirt and then kind of came around over the top of my shoulder to clip it right there. And it reminds me of how I used to wear my headphones when I was in middle school and high school when I had a Discman. And it drove me nuts that I would have the cord in front of me when I was doing something. And it never failed because I used to have the ones that would go over my ears, and then eventually they came out with ones that just plugged right in. And it never failed that inevitably I would be walking, or if I was mowing or something, because we had a ride-on mower, I would hit a bump and the cord would somehow bounce over the handles and it would rip my headphones off or out of my ear depending on what style I had at the time. So I started threading them through the back to avoid that, and I'm sure most people who wear headphones with cords today still do that too, but oh my gosh, it drove me crazy at the time. To this day, I actually still prefer headphones that have cords versus like the AirPods or anything that's cordless. I like AirPods if I'm on a phone call, especially a work phone call. But I don't know. I like the ones that go for my ears still specifically. Those tend to be my favorites. I don't know if it helps me feel like I'm more into what I'm listening to or what's going on, but it's more of a mood for me, I guess. I like it. There we go. So you can see she's got some much shorter layers now. I wouldn't say little tiny, but this will really give more of a kind of bombshell effect versus keeping all of that weight at the bottom. And that's, like I said, that tends to be what gives away what is a really good wig versus a very inexpensive wig, especially when it's synthetic. You have to remove some of that weight. And it's the same thing if you ever get clip-in extensions. Our hair naturally is not that full at the bottom, and it tends to look too kind of uncomfortably heavy when you're on the outside looking at it. So if you ever had extensions of any sort, or a sew and weave, whatever kind of style you prefer, your stylist would customize everything so that the ends would kind of taper down like natural hair would. Because when you think about how old the end of our hair is, it is going to be drier. It needs a lot more attention that most of us don't typically give the ends of our hair, even though we want to. And so when we brush or when we pull because we're braiding, whatever it is, that kind of breaks away at what's left there. And sometimes it breaks it off completely, but a lot of times the cortex just doesn't have as much going on down there. So normally when I do layers like this, I would be holding this really high above her head, but for your sake, I want you to get the visual as much as anything of what I'm doing. So the other thing about synthetic wigs is that you cannot apply heat to them typically. I have not looked at the care instructions long enough on this one, but normally with synthetic hair, that smells terrible. If you've never accidentally applied heat to something that's plastic, especially something that's plastic and coated in chemicals, oh, it smells terrible. So I've had extensions before when I was first learning about them, when I was in high school specifically. I don't know if any of you have seen either on here or Instagram, but there's a person on TikTok, and unfortunately I don't know her handle, but she does a lot of the getting ready with me in 2007 or 2008, and she has like the cornerstones of style at the time, where she's got a Hollister t-shirt on with a mini skirt and a belt down here, and has the Abercrombie jacket with a fur-lined hood, and her face doesn't match her neck at all with her makeup, and her signature at the end every time she turns around is that she has this huge weft track of hair showing because she didn't blend her extensions. And she says at one point she got them from Sally's, and that is so true for so many of us. I had really dark hair in high school. I colored it really dark, and my hair, like I had said, is not very thick naturally, so I have always used extensions or something similar to help it be a little bit more full when I'm doing braids on myself or updos. And it was no different in high school, so thankfully I never had an issue where I had tracks of hair showing like that, because I only ever was brave enough to do it if I knew my hair was going to be pulled back somehow, and I knew for a fact it wasn't going to show. Because at the time it was kind of taboo. It was not, you knew most of the girls were using them, but you didn't really want to talk about it. So anyway, the extensions that I could afford at the time from Sally's while I was engaging in all of this were very inexpensive, and they were synthetic. They were the plastic ones, and I did not know you could not put heat on them, and I had them for a few weeks, and I had noticed they were starting to just look a little frizzy because I had been putting them up while I was putting them in braids, and so they're kind of just not looking very lively. So I thought, okay, well, what if I run my straightener over them and I try to help them out a little bit? And they melted instantly in my straightening iron, and I could not get that smell out of my straightening iron ever again. I did everything that I could to clean it, to get that residue off, and it was there for life. We ended up having to throw that straightening iron away because I shared it with my sisters, my older sister and my younger sister, and it was ruined for all of us. None of us could use it on our hair. It smelled so bad, and it also was fairly inexpensive, but oh my gosh, it was a lifeline at the time, so that was really critical that I did that. And I felt really bad about it, so it was a learning experience for all of us, and they are welcome that I was the one that did it, because eventually one of us would have. So ever since then, dealing with extensions, my own or for somebody else's, I am very, very vigilant about making sure that they are being taken care of, and that they are of a decent enough quality, whatever you can afford, but making sure they're real hair primarily is what's important with that, especially for people who just buy them to wear on their wedding day. You do not. Those will show terribly in pictures if you don't do it right. So you can see even between the two sides how much more curl and lift we have going on this side, where we've done more of the cutting, versus this side over here that's still very long and heavy, where we've got a lot of dimension happening over here. So we won't do too much more because she's pretty close. We just wanted to make this a little bit more real. And we will work on this side a little bit. looks real enough that I could wear it somewhere. Preferably where nobody knows me, just in case it's not. But I actually have not spent a lot of time playing with wigs. They are very intimidating to me. I know several hairstylists who specialize in them. For women who like to wear them, I mean men too, but for people who like to wear them regularly, that is very much popular right now. Instead of coloring your own hair and risking the damage to it, they are investing more in wigs. But you also have people who have no hair because of illness or conditions like alopecia who wear them all the time and really need to have very good, very good wigs. And there's a lot of emotion attached to that, especially if you are wearing them because you feel it's necessary, not because it's something that you just think is fun. And there's a whole process when you are applying wigs and how to get them to stay and to look good, especially if somebody is, I think about people who have conditions like alopecia or who are sick and have lost hair because of medication or treatment. And I was just always really intimidated by messing it up. I never wanted to risk making somebody cry because I made a mistake, and normally I am not somebody who typically lets myself be held back by what I don't know. I love to learn. I mean, look at me making these ASMR videos. I have so much to learn, especially about the audio components. I need to work on that quite a bit and to find some education to help with that a little bit more. But it's different when it's a person who's going out there and is feeling like they need to be brave in front of a public audience. So I never got into it because it really scared me. And thankfully now I see so many people, so many stylists that put out education videos about what they do for wigs for their clients, and they teach people through their social media profiles how to apply their wigs really well. Yeah, see, there we go, that's looking better. And how to really make it so you feel comfortable putting your wig on every day, and the best products to use, how to get your hair comfortably back in a cap, or if you don't have any hair, how to keep things comfortable so nothing's slipping, there's no chafing. All of the things that you just don't really think about when you are first considering it. There we go. I'm unintentionally giving her kind of the wolf shag. She just had the right hair, the right shape for it, I guess. Sorry, I'll lean closer so you can hear this, because I'm cutting quite a bit off right here. Sounds nice. So yes, I personally will probably never offer to do wigs for other people, especially because I'm not in the salon anymore, but I'm so grateful that people put it out there and their education, and I know a lot of other people are grateful for it too, and I think it really reduces the stigma around it and the shame. Being accused of being vain, it's something that can be really fun and exciting, but it also can be something that's really necessary. So I'm grateful for those people, and I know quite a few people who are excellent at what they do, and if you're interested, I will absolutely put their profiles in my comments if that is something you would like to learn more about, or if you know somebody who wears wigs and they would like to learn more about it. I will happily drop that information, my recommendations, in the description or the comments, whatever is easiest. So I need to go back and do a little bit more blending on this side, but because this is me being lazy and I'm already on this side of her, I'm just going to kind of blend her bangs a little bit, her fringe, before I go back over there. The goal of this is just to remove some of the weight at the ends. I kind of like the look with the heavier do. Grab your section and then cut from the bottom in kind of a C shape. So you will grab your piece of hair like so, and then you will follow and make a curve, a C shape, like that, and cut from underneath. It removes that weight on the bottom, so it gives you that effect you want, but it preserves the length on top, so it looks like it's full and it's long without looking like too much. There really are so many good accounts right now that will teach you this kind of stuff too. I wish when I was younger, I mean, there's a lot of reasons I'm grateful I didn't have social media when I was younger, but the makeup tips that I could have used, the hair tips that could have saved me from seriously bad haircuts and styles that I had, or at least lessened them, maybe not saved me entirely, because we all have to make our mistakes and grow, but most definitely could have eased them a little bit. There we go, that looks good. Lydia, you're such a great client. You're beautiful. Okay, we have just a little bit left here. This is the side that I meant to blend on the first try and kind of forgot about, so sorry, Lydia. Let's see, make sure we're kind of on the same length here. Okay. I do have a tendency to lean back when I'm cutting. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm not so tall, so I try to get as much visual as I can, especially when the client has long hair. But when I want a microphone to pick up the sounds of what I'm doing, it's not a good habit to have. So I apologize. I will try to be better about getting in there and really getting the sounds. There we go. There we go. Look how much better that looks. We're almost done, but it's amazing the difference it makes. So if you have a wig like this, or if this is a hairstyle that you are personally interested in wearing to style this when we're done, I would recommend just some texture spray. If you're really just wanting to kind of make it a little messy and a little bit big. But if you have real hair, of course, you can always use a larger barrel iron. You can use Velcro rollers. There's a liquid wax is great to really piece out things like this. There's a lot that you can do with it that would look really good. I don't know if any of you are interested in product knowledge or tips for men or women. Anybody, really. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, but long hair, short hair, medium hair, fine, thick, curly, whatever it is. of something